Um, Thank you, Louise. So welcome everybody. My name is Richard Watt from here at UCL in London, and I'm delighted to be co-hosting this webinar with my colleague Carol, who will be taking over halfway through the session. Um, we've got, I think, what is going to be quite a memorable webinar today. Um, and the focus of our webinar is on community engagement and involvement. So if I just show some initial slides. Are my slides clear? Yep. So, oops. That's not very good. Let's try again. So yes, so community engagement and involvement. This is webinar 5 in our first series of international core webinars. So welcome all of you. And this is part of our wider core program funded by the National Institutes of Health Research here in the UK and working with our partner countries in Colombia, Brazil, Kenya, and India. Now, in previous webinars, we've told you more about elements of our work packages in terms of the research we're doing. But today, we're going to focus on the issue of community engagement and involvement, which is a very important and innovative element of our research. The core program as a team, as a wider team now, we've agreed a set of core values and principles by which we're working. And central to those values and principles is the issue of inclusion, diversity, and giving a voice to communities that are often excluded from research and from oral health policy development. If we reflect on some of the limitations of oral health research, what we often can identify now is that traditionally and historically, the agenda has been set by us professionals. The professionals, dentists in particular, researchers, have tended to identify the priorities, dominate the research questions, design, etc. We also recognize, in terms of a global perspective, of the dominance of the global north in terms of setting agendas, in terms of funding, etc. Another big limitation is the limited or no involvement of communities in the research process. A particular concern is the lack of disadvantaged and marginalized communities who are most often excluded from oral health research for a range of different reasons. So what we now recognize is there's a need for a better, more balanced range of perspectives moving forward in global oral health research. So one area of development that is particularly important is this concept of community engagement and involvement. Now, there are many different definitions of community engagement and involvement, but the National Institutes of Health Research really talk about it as being the active involvement of communities in research using participatory methods, working in partnership with different stakeholders. So that's the essence of what community engagement and involvement is. What does that mean in reality in terms of conducting research? Well, it certainly means about reaching out to communities, understanding the nature of communities, the resources, structures, communication, leadership methods, etc. It's about establishing different methods of engagement, such as community forums, citizen panels. At its essence, it's about developing trust and respect between researchers and the community. And it certainly needs investment to understand the community's needs and wants more directly. And ultimately, through this process, it can lead to the process of co-development of research studies, interventions, and ultimately solutions. So in our core global health project, our teams across the 4 countries have conducted community mapping exercises to document the nature of the communities we're working with, the resources and assets, etc. We've developed some community engagement action plans that actually develop concrete actions. We've established community forums with leaders in the different community groups we're working with. And we are in the process now of appointing and recruiting and training community link workers in each of our partner countries. We have also undertaken a range of outreach events, which again, we'll show you more details in a minute. And lastly, towards the end of our project, we will be producing a community engagement involvement practical toolkit to help others gain insights based upon our experience in this work. So that's a brief overview and introduction to the community engagement activities in our study. But what I'd like to do now is ask Michelle, who has done an incredible job at putting together a video that will show you a range of actions, community actions taking place across our 4 partner countries. So if you just now watch the video once Michelle shows it, and then we'll continue with the next presentation. Over to you, Michelle.
Aguas Claras es un corregimiento del municipio de Ocaña, en norte de Santander, ubicado a aproximadamente 632 kilómetros de Bogotá, la capital de Colombia. Se caracteriza por ser un área rural, rica en biodiversidad de flora y fauna, la calidad de su gente y su amabilidad, con cerca de 1.900 habitantes en total, contemplando las veredas que lo componen, y 1.300 habitantes en el casco urbano. Su principal actividad económica y fuente de ingreso es la agricultura. Adicional a esto, ha sido un territorio atravesado por el conflicto armado, especialmente durante los últimos años.
La verdad que sí he tenido experiencias pero dolorosas y desagradables por muchas veces por muelas, de muchas veces descuido de uno, dientes o muelas que se le inflaman a uno.
Mi hijo menor, con él fue una experiencia porque pequeñito no había cómo se cepillara y tomaba mucho tetero. Entonces se le cayeron todos los dientes del frente, se le dañaron.
Lo primero, en mi familia es mucho lo que ha ocurrido sobre las enfermedades de salud oral y en mí también ha existido, y te lo digo que es una experiencia desagradable, tanto por el dolor como por la apariencia física.
En mi generación no conocimos sino dentistas, no odontólogos, como hoy en día. El dentista era un tecua, digamos así, un empírico, el cual lo llevaban a uno los papás y tratar, por ejemplo, una caries era una tortura.
Cuando se me dañaron los dientes de adelante, fui al odontólogo y me tocó que sacarme los dientes de adelante, todos, porque ya estaban dañados, no tenían solución, y él me hizo una cirugía. Me cogió 17 puntos porque tocó abrir acá, abrir aquí, y fue una experiencia muy dura porque fueron como 25 días comiendo puro líquido, con jugos, gelatina, ahí comiendo cositas suaves para poderme mantener, porque la cirugía fue bastante grande y yo no podía masticar.
El nieto más grandecito tiene los dientes torcidos y está esperando a estar más grande para hacerse tratamiento de ortodoncia.
La salud oral en mi familia es fundamental porque nos ayuda a tener una sonrisa muy linda, estar bien con las enfermedades, o sea, que ninguna enfermedad nos afecte.
Descuido de uno porque uno en ese tiempo, a uno, los papás, uno no usaba cepillo. Uno, en ese tiempo yo no me acuerdo de niña haber usado cepillos y eso uno fue como descuido de uno y de los papás. Y
creo que primero los malos hábitos de alimentación, mucho dulce, o sea que comen mucho dulce.
Básicamente por falta de información de educación en los niños más que todo, de hacerles hincapié en el valor que tienen los dientes.
Por el mal cuidado que uno tiene, por no saber cepillar bien, por andar por las carreras, o por el simple hecho de estar de afán todo el tiempo y olvidar que tenemos que cuidar nuestra boca.
De zona de agricultura, de cultivo, y se utiliza mucho venenos y insumos químicos y venenos y cosas que le inflaman a uno, digamos, los labios y le dañan los dientes, se los manchan los dientes a uno, una cosa increíble.
También no tener los suficientes recursos para mandarse a arreglar la sonrisa o para pagar una operación para alguna prótesis.
Las enfermedades de salud oral están causando hoy en día muchas pérdidas de dientes.
Yo creo que una buena dentadura da mucha seguridad. De pronto los niños que le faltan los dientes o algo son víctimas de bullying en el colegio, o ellos se sienten mal, se miran al espejo y se ven sin sus dientes, pues obviamente se sienten mal. Y el autoestima se les baja mucho cuando son víctimas de bullying en el colegio por algún problema dental.
Hay muchas inseguridades en las personas porque, digamos, si no tienen un diente, pues no pueden sonreír bien, o también para comer, o por simplemente apariencia puede cambiar las facciones de tu cara. Pues el problema ahí es que si no empezamos por lo más barato, lo más básico, que es el buen cepillado, la cera dental, el enjuague bucal, y saber todas esas cosas, si no lo tenemos muy en cuenta, nos lleva a gastos más grandes porque nos puede afectar pues en los dientes y ya requiere costos mayores como movilidad, transporte, y si requiere alguna intervención quirúrgica, el costo para pagar esa operación.
Porque uno se siente como triste por no tener sus dientes normales y no poder tener una calidad de vida pues normal, porque tener uno una caja no es lo mismo.
En el contexto en el que estamos, una familia campesina no va a poder sacar 17 millones de pesos para mejorarse los dientes, ni 2 millones de pesos. No tienen la solvencia.
Bueno, puede evitar uno, como les digo, uno dedicándole tiempo al odontólogo, a perder el día, a perder el mediodía, porque si no perdemos el día, peor, porque perdemos la dentadura, es más malo.
El proyecto Core Colombia en el año 2023 inició el trabajo con esta comunidad realizando el ejercicio de mapeo comunitario. Desde entonces hace presencia en el territorio con diversas actividades que buscan empoderar y co-construir en torno a la salud oral.
No, ustedes y que sigan en la tarea esta difícil de abrir conciencias, de dar luces, y que aspiramos que el producto de esta investigación vaya mínimo al ministerio y que el ministerio exponga la problemática del campesino, que básicamente el contexto que tenemos el campesino, y que tomen las medidas necesarias para que haya una buena salud mental.
Minha ciranda não é minha só, ela é de todos nós, ela é de todos nós. A melodia principal quem guia é a primeira voz.
Por que ela é importante?
Porque
porque assim, né, a gente, até mesmo depois de muitas coisas eu não como direito, né? Porque eu não como uma comida, às vezes eu tenho tanta vontade de comer aquela comida, de roer um osso, mas não posso, porque eu não tenho mais dente. Aí prejudica, né? Porque às vezes eu quero comer uma melancia, tem que cortar, picar todinho o melão. Essas coisas que a gente tem desejo de comer não pode, né? Porque qual o dente que eu tenho para puxar? Não tem. Às vezes eu sinto falta dos meus dentes, não quer ter. A pessoa ter seus dentes, né? Tudo perfeitinho, né? Para poder a gente poder falar e não. Porque assim mesmo, eu ainda com a boca assim, mas eu escovo minha língua, escovo, porque a sujeira também não só vem do dente, não. Vem da língua, né? Da pessoa ter que escovar, né? Limpar, eu escovo minha língua, escovo, para dar um bom cheirinho, né? Porque aí mesmo assim a gente sente, né? Mal alto.
Tá certo.
Aí eu me trato mesmo. E logo quando eu vou para a igreja, que eu gosto de louvar, adorar a Deus, aí eu tenho que estar, né? Porque para Jesus a gente tem que estar toda limpinha.
Então a senhora considera isso como uma boa saúde bucal?
É.
Chutamos mal com mal, mando uma roda, cantando uma canção.
A minha é muito importante mesmo, porque desde quando eu, graças a Deus, tive minha atitude de crescimento, que eu venho sempre batalhando para a minha saúde. Certo? Falaram para mim, olha, tira esses dentes que está fazendo mal ao senhor. Aí eu tirei. Aí foi quando veio dizer que estava dando pior, aí comecei a sentir as dores, comecei sem comer direito, sem nada por causa dos dentes. Aí tirei. Aí depois que eu tirei, graças a Deus não deu mais nada. Entendeu como é que é?
Sim.
Deu mais nada. Aí eu comprei a chapa, botei a chapa, mandei botar para a chapa. Pronto, aí a minha melhorou mais ainda para mim. Eu sei que nesse negocinho, tudinho, aí me prejudiquei agora, né? Fiquei me prejudicado porque o cara banguelo não é que nem o cara com a prótese, né?
Sim.
Aí falei com minha mãe, falei com meu pai, aí ele disse, rapaz, não estou tendo as condições de fazer agora não. Deixa eu ver o que vai. Aí meu pai morreu, aí fiquei na mão. Batalhando, aí botei a chapa, gastei os 3 contos que deu atrás aí, isso aí, deu para 3 contos. Aí perdi ela na praia, pronto, não botei mais nada. Aí sinto falta, né?
Animada no meio de uma multidão, menina, eu parei, fiquei olhando, a preta pegou a escovisa, eu perguntei quem é esta negra, Soliadita Maracá.
Nem toda coisa que a gente quer fazer, é tudo que a gente tem que falar com a boca, fica chato para a gente conversar, falar porque dá problema na voz,
Sim.
entendeu? Aí, principalmente eu, que vivo na casa de candidato de vereador, coisa e tal, eu vou para falar com ele, que eu tenho maracatu, entendeu? Eu tenho maracatu, aí para falar no microfone, eu mando a minha filha falar, o cara ficar meia tomando a voz, modo da chapa, modo evidente, né? Aí pronto, aí é isso que eu sinto falta, muito, muito mesmo.
Vai rodar, cantando uma canção.
Pois é, vá
Eu vou
atrás,
gastar
viu?
do jeito que eu gastei e vou botar, porque é dinheiro, viu? Haja dinheiro,
Mas tem que
porque...
ir pelo SUS também, né?
É?
Tem que ir
Mas pelo SUS eu não vou botar do jeito que eu quero.
será?
Do jeito que eu quero. Eu quero botar com 5, tinha 4, agora vou botar 5. Agora quando eu for para me lembrar, para tirar. Para não perder de novo.
Sim, sim. Não dá bobeira na praia,
É,
né?
porque agora está custando 18 mil.
Poxa, tá
É
vendo
do jeito que eu
aí,
quero
né?
tirar, mas eu boto. Eu batalho e boto. Vou pro carnaval, chega lá na federação, aí vou falar com o Banguelo. Aí, cadê a voz? Cadê a palavra?
Mando uma rodar,
So kwa majina ameitwa Nelson Msungu kutoka Mathare hapa area 2. Kwetu si ati ni kupua vile, tunaishi huku kwa slum. So hata kwa access hizi maji nini na noma. So mimi experience yangu na meno ijanza saa hii, imeanza kitambo nikiwa mdogo. I think nilikuwa nakula sweet mingi. Lazima shida tu hiyo maji, pia maji kwanga safi. I think hiyo ndio ile affect. Imekuwa imenisumbua sana. Hata saa hizi ati imeisha, bado inasumbuanga, lakini na meza painkillers. Sio access pia hospitali kwangi ati ni rahisi. Unaenda OC, pata line ni refu. Pia ukishafikiwa ndio ongea daktari, ya consultation fee pia inakuwa noma. Unapata mimi niko unemployed, sasa pia yodo kupata noma. Kwa time nilipata mzaeli nipia doni kenda hospitali. Kumbe daktari alikuwa anashughulikia meno yangu kwa profession. Mendunga hapo dawa kwa meno, ile dawa gandisha meno. No ijaganda, ameanza kungoa, imekataa. Ikabidi tumechorea hiyo story.
Jina langu naitwa Teresia Kanyiri. Mimi ni mama, mimi ni mzazi, na mimi ni mkaaji wa Mathare North Area 1. Nimekaa hapa zaidi ya miaka 25. Kutoka utotoni tujapata masomo kuhusu meno sana. Kwa hivyo sisi tukiwa na shida ya meno tunatumia madaktari hawa wa kienyeji. Wakati mtoto anazaliwa mdogo, tunaambiwa hadithi kama za mtoto kufura meno za plastic. Kwa hivyo hao tunawapeleka kwa wamama wa kienyeji ama wa baba, mtoto anakatwa meno. Hatuzingatii sana usafi wa meno kwa sababu kwanza hatujakuwa na hiyo elimu. Meno ikitusumbua, tunasikia tunapaswa kwenda kwa hospitali, lakini imekuwa ni changamoto kubwa kwa sababu hospitali ambayo tunaambiwa tuko nayo ni ile iko karibu ni Mama Lucy. Mama Lucy iko zaidi ya kilomita 12 kutoka pale tuko, na ni mbali. Meno yetu hayaathiri watoto pia peke yao, yanaathiri wa mama ambao kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa lishe bora wakiwa na ujauzito, hatujui nini inafanya meno inakosa nguvu, kwa hivyo inawauma. Mtu akijifungua tu anaenda kung'oa. Lakini tunaomba na tunaendelea kuomba ya kwamba tutapata suluhisho. Watoto wetu ambao wanaweza kwenda mashuleni wafunzwe maneno ya meno, usafi wa meno, na madaktari pia ambao wako mahospitalini sasa wapatikane, na kusikue na suluhisho tu ya kung'oa meno, tuweze kupata hizi zingine za kujaza ama kuosha.
Okay, I'm Dolcas Ndukunyamai. Numite vandu vetu wa Mukimwani location. Katuluni village. Thini wa village with na challenges. Vindela mundu wako atakwalwa ni mayo withila vandu vala ukuthi ni basa na zaingine utonothi ukethila ndakitali atevo. Mundu ni wisilasia kuthi kwa andu ama tradition. Oila uthi withile mundu unu kwa mayo na ai kwa mayo ona ndena singano na okwikia misuma okwe mayo. Pena dangerous nuto no kuwa yeyo kambia kuwa kana ukakwatwa boni mo wau na kanoka kuwa yeyo ikatilikila na kumabu uikwatwa ni mathina. na indi nicho kitumi andu meukulia kana ni batoneo kama kamandhi wa hospitali matono kuwa mayo na opo hospitali tuimandhi wa ndakitali ni kwithwa andu mathi meka ukuwa mayo ona mayo kana pena replacement kana ukarifile wa mayo kana ukekwa undungi indi makita ukuwa mayo pesia na ini ni maasya ni mayo methia me mathuku na yunundu wa tradition mandu makuma mbilivya kana kakwatwa ni mayo sikalito thikumwe twenda makakuwa mayo monthe meana na kanaku wenda kakakwatwa ni kuua kakakwatwa ni kwalwa ni mutwe na kaikwatwa ni kutuma lolote ila ni thai thina wa kuthela kiwi so nipo tukuinsist andu mataku kana maeli twatwa asiana kuu kana kakwatwa ni mayo makatwa hospitali ni mauthi kwithila ndakitali na maikuwa na nzela ya ilite
toka maziro ni dawa Julius Kimandi nimete Kalimani Katuluni Village nyanze ndinena yulu wa youth upo wa ma youth ni maana ngepwe ni mayo muno mundu ni mandikile mikukani mandika mbakini na wethethia yuma meno thina wa mayo yuma mbio mali wethia ithi kuote mba hizi vitali cina mathina muno mundu na youth yuma amino kwana kama wethia yukuthi kutetheka ni baasa wala tono utethegia twina andu aku pia methiwa na thina wa mayo na weza ethia yumundu usikumugua kumutwara vala sibitali thi na wiwothi sibitali bado kethia udakitali ndevo withi kuya kwa transition nani muku experience transport yulu muno nundu no mozi mota nani baasa muno da especially nena mutu wa kwana thinikie muno kana kake kena thina wa mayo anaendi hospitali live akuli akosa charging point over there charge my phone okay thank you akukui wakana na kusio so ithi thina la wibo wa youth tuzu na andu aku tiwo boya kakayu nitithengi kwa hospitali over katika village ni utethia andu muno gethethia ni matetheka andu mai tena mainezi ni fact na gwe tina andu mana andu anamukae ciucio lakini for now kwa andu no tembwa na andu amwe moka makabundizia katika ikundi makabundizia ndo mundu alito saka mayo ndo alito tumia ndawa saingi yo expensive kethia na ingi mai afford kwanza na hithi mi afford weza ithia maeza afford ndawa ingi especially ingi mama matumia wa mitino ndo maina maitho weche ndawa
નમસ્તે મારું નામ યાસ્મીન છે અને એક સિલાઈ કામદાર બહેન છું સેવામાં એક રિસર્ચર તરીકે જોડાઈ હતી અને અત્યારે ગુજરાતના આરોગ્યના સંચાલક તરીકે કામ કરું છું અને હું સેવા યુનિયનના મંત્રી તરીકે પણ મેં મારી સેવા આપી છે સેવા એક અસંગઠિત કામદાર બહેનોનું ટ્રેડ યુનિયન છે સેવાની સ્થાપના શ્રી ઈલાબેન ભટ્ટે 1972માં કરી હતી
નમસ્તે મારું નામ નિકિતા છે હું સીઈઆઈ સંચાલક તરીકે સેવા ઇન્ડિયામાં કામ કરું છું આરોગ્યની સમસ્યા એક એવો વિષય છે જેમાં યોગ્ય જાણકારી અને જાગૃતિ બંને મહત્વનો ભાગ ભજવે છે એ પછી શહેરી વિસ્તાર હોય ગ્રામ્ય વિસ્તારો હોય કે પછી છેવાડાના આદિવાસી ક્ષેત્રો હોય અમારી કામગીરી બધે જ વિવિધ આરોગ્યની સમસ્યાઓ અંગે જાણકારી અને જાગૃતતા વધારવાની છે હા એક વાત જરૂર છે કે આદિવાસી ક્ષેત્રોમાં આ કામ કરવાનો પડકાર અલગ જ હોય છે દાખલા તરીકે આમ દાંતની તકલીફ હોય દાંત કઢાવવા હોય દાંત પેઢામાંથી લોહી નીકળતું હોય દાંતની કોઈ બી તકલીફ હોય તો લોકોને સારવાર માટે દૂર જવું પડે છે 50 કિલોમીટર એટલે લોકોને બહુ તકલીફ પડે છે આમ નજીકના વિસ્તારમાં સારવાર મળી રહે તો સારું
બહેનોને આપણે સંગઠિત તો કર્યા પણ એમની જે જરૂરિયાત છે એ જરૂરિયાતને પૂર્ણ કેવી રીતે કરવું તો એના માટે આપણે નાની નાની મંડળીઓ બનાવી અને એ મંડળી દ્વારા આપણે આપણા સભ્યો સુધી આરોગ્યના કામને લઈ ગયા
મારું નામ વર્ષાબેન છે હું 25 વર્ષથી સેવામાં કામ કરું છું સેવામાં હું શરૂઆતથી આરોગ્યમાં જોડાઈ છું. આરોગ્ય દ્વારા હું બહેનોને શિક્ષણ આપવાનું, યુવાને શિક્ષણ આપવાનું, કેમ્પો કરવાનું, રિફરનું, એરિયા મીટિંગ કરવાનું, બધું જ કામ કરું છું આરોગ્યમાં. નવાપુરામાં જ્યારે 2016માં સેવા શક્તિ કેન્દ્ર ખોલવામાં આવ્યું તે પછી મારા ગામની બહેનોને ઘણા જ જાગૃતતા આવી. વારંવાર તાલીમોમાં બેસવાથી વારંવાર એ લોકો પંચાયતમાં આવવા થયા, ગામ સભામાં આવતા થયા. સેવા શક્તિ કેન્દ્ર દ્વારા મારો ઘણો જ વિકાસ થયો અને ગામનો પણ ઘણો જ વિકાસ થયો. તો તમે આવો મારી સાથે તો હું તમને મનીષાબેનને મળાવું અને એમની સાથે વાત કરાવું, એમને કેટલો લાભ થયો તે એ પોતે જ કહેશે.
વર્ષાબેને કેર કરાવવામાં મદદ કરી, એમાં મારો ખર્ચો મારા બેબીનું ઓપરેશન કરાવ્યું તો બચી ગયો એટલો.
આવો હવે આપણે લીલાબેનના ઘેર જઈએ, એમને આપણે વૃદ્ધ પેન્શનનું ફોર્મ ભરીશું તો એમને મળાવું તમને.
વર્ષાબેને સેવા શક્તિ કેન્દ્ર ખોલ્યું પછી અમારો ઘણો લાભ થયો. અમારું વૃદ્ધ પેન્શન મળે છે.
એમને 5 સેવાઓ મળવી ખૂબ જરૂરી છે, જેમાં બાલ સેવા, આરોગ્ય સેવા, વીમો સેવા, ઘર જેમાં પ્રાથમિક સુવિધાઓ હોય અને पेंशन सेवा।
मेरा नाम फिजा है। मैं सेवा में 5 साल से जुड़ी हूँ। अब मेरी छाप इस सेवा थ्रू ऐसी पड़ी है कि मैं अब कोई भी हो, किसी का डॉक्यूमेंट का है, किसी का योजना जो स्कीम है उसका किसी का काम है तो वो बहनें आती है मेरे पास।
मेरे पास कुछ भी नहीं था, आधार कार्ड नहीं था, न वो नहीं था, उम्र का दाखला नहीं था, और क्या कहते हैं वो दूसरा वो भी कुछ नहीं था। उन्हें फिर 4 फोटो कहते वो भी नहीं था, काला फोटो, वो भी सब करवाया। फिर जाने फिर वो दौड़ भाग करी।
सेवा में जुड़ने के बाद मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मुझ में बहुत बदलाव आया है। जैसे पहले मैं क्या थी और अब क्या, मुझे सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस, लोगों के सामने बोलना, ये सब आ गया है अच्छे से, लोगों से डर नहीं लगता।
સેવાના મુખ્ય 2 ઉદ્દેશ છે, પૂર્ણ રોજગાર અને સ્વાવલંબન. પૂર્ણ રોજગારની આપણે વાત કરીએ તો અસંગઠિત ક્ષેત્રના કામદાર બહેનોને 4 સલામતી ખૂબ જરૂરી છે, જેમાં આવકની સલામતી, કામની સલામતી, ખાદ્ય સલામતી અને સામાજિક સલામતી.
મારું નામ મીનાબેન છે. હું છેલ્લા 3 વર્ષથી સેવા સાથે જોડાઈ છું અને સેવામાં આવ્યા પછી મેં ઘણા બધા કામ કર્યા છે, જેમ કે PMGYમાં લોકોને ફ્રીમાં ઓપરેશન કરાવવા. પછી જ્યારે અમે ગ્રામમાં જઈને ગ્રુપ શિક્ષણ કરીએ છીએ, ગ્રુપ શિક્ષણમાં પણ બહેનોને ખૂબ જ શક્તિ વિકાસ થયો છે બહેનોનો.
હાલ સેવા જે છે 18 રાજ્યમાં કાર્યરત છે અને 32 લાખથી વધારે અસંગઠિત મહિલા કામદાર આ યુનિયન સાથે જોડાયેલા છે. બહેનો સ્વાવલંબન થાય, વ્યક્તિગત નિર્ણય લઈ શકે, સામૂહિક રીતે નિર્ણય લઈ શકે અને એમની ભાગીદારી કેવી રીતે વધે, તો એ સેવાના મુખ્ય ઉદ્દેશ છે. અને એમના જે પણ મુદ્દાઓ છે એને સાથે રહીને એકજૂટ થઈને સભ્યને સેવાઓ આપીએ.
Over the years, we have learned some lessons from our Seva sisters, which I would like to share. The first and most important is to start where people are, in our case where women are, with their needs, their reality. I'm reminded about what Mahatma Gandhi told us, advised us many, many years ago. He said, if we focus on the poorest and the weakest, the most vulnerable, then we will never go wrong. As we are inspired by his values and his beliefs, we try to ensure that we start indeed with those whose voices normally are not heard. And we find that women particularly, our members, take great care to ensure that no one is left behind. They tend to be more inclusive, perhaps because they've always been left behind. The second important lesson is the importance of organizing. It's the basic building block. It's about solidarity, building unity, horizontal solidarity and solidarity at all levels. The third important lesson is about creating membership-based organizations which are used, managed and owned by local people themselves, and in our case, women. These are sustainable, they are authentic, and they're embedded in the communities. And when local women leaders from these membership-based organizations like cooperatives, as Yasmin mentioned, when they bring out the needs, they know what's best for their communities. They know what their communities need. And so the other aspect of what we've learned is the importance of encouraging local leadership among young people, in our case also among women and those who are normally forgotten. And we find that it is these local leaders, or in our language, Agevans, who have been critical for the Seva movement. It is the Varsha Bens, the Fizas, the Meena Bens, and others who have been the main pillars of the Seva movement, leading us towards a just, equitable, and inclusive future.
Well, thank you very much. It's really moving and touching and humbling to see these videos. So I just want to say thank you very much and congratulations to all the core teams in all the countries for these great videos, and to our dear Michelle for putting them together in this beautiful way. So thank you and congratulations, everyone. Now we need to move on. So let me introduce our colleague, Teddy Kitili, who is the Community Engagement and Involvement Coordinator in Kenya. Teddy is a graduate in journalism and digital media communications. His interests lie in using communication as a tool for health promotion, particularly with underrepresented and linguistically diverse communities. So now Teddy will reflect on his experience working with communities in Kenya for the core project. So over to you, Teddy.
Everyone, thank you very much, Caro, for the opportunity. So, I'll be presenting on some of the challenges as well as the lessons that I have learned with engaging the communities, also here in Kenya. So, allow me to just quickly share a quick presentation. Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen, but I think you need to, yes, perfect. Now we can see the presentation. Thank you, Teddy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the core project team in Kenya comprises of myself, Teddy Kitili, Ben Muchoki, Joyce Mutuku, and Professor Regina Mutave as our project lead. So core project is a 4-year research program that is funded by NIHR. So implemented, and the project is implemented through the Department of Dental Health Sciences, that is through the University of Nairobi here in Kenya, and aiming to address the neglect of oral diseases in 4 low and middle income countries, that is Brazil, Colombia, India, and Kenya, and generally focusing on oral health inequalities among marginalized communities and the barriers to oral health services. So, community engagement and involvement is strengthening the community involvement in research and health programs, basically, ensuring that communities are not only just recipients, but are also active partners. And it's guided by, or the community engagement and involvement is guided by inclusivity, cultural relevance, and also local ownership. That is the various communities that we're working with across Kenya, that is they themselves owning the project. And as we say here in Kenya, if it's not with us, then it's not for us. So yes, the community needs to be part of the project as well. So here in Kenya, we are working in two sites. That is Kisau Kiteta Ward. That is our rural site. It's in Makueni County. And our urban site, we have the Ruaraka Ward, which is in Nairobi County. Okay, so I'll go through some challenges that I have faced working with the community, some challenges that the community itself faces as well. So first and foremost, it's the limited awareness and misconceptions about about the importance of oral health and its link to overall well-being. In Kenya, many community members have limited understanding of the importance of oral health and its connection to overall health, that is the overall well-being of the body. So oral diseases are often viewed as minor or inevitable. So in Kenya, you find that out of 5 people, 4 people have dental caries, 4 people have some oral health issues, and it's actually quite normalized. So once you mention that you have a cavity or bleeding gums, it's very normal. So you're just advised to go get your teeth removed because that's the go-to solution for the communities here in Kenya. And also competing health priorities, that is, communities often focus on urgent issues like, or let's call them urgent issues like tuberculosis, nutrition, or maternal health over dental care. So, and this is quite um, a huge problem because even with our universal healthcare coverage, we do not have, as a country, we don't have oral health being given a priority. But we're currently working towards enlightening the community to including oral health in their discussions as they go on to suggest the policies or the changes or the reforms that need to be made as well. So also we have the cultural beliefs and traditional practices, which sometimes do conflict with the modern dental advices or care-seeking behavior. That is, we have long-standing traditional practices. This is growing or has developed because of lack of the dental services or the hospitals. So many community members just use what is readily available. So they use herbs, they use trees for curing pain. And in as much as we say some of the practices that are doing are not harmful, it's just that it's more herbal and we have the professional way. So we're encouraging them to now try and seek professional help. But also we also have the wrong or the traditional practices, that is the likes of gum cutting or the likes of removing what many community members call as plastic teeth, that is the first set of growing teeth, which is quite a dangerous practice among the communities that we're working with here. But because the community members grow up with this as their beliefs, this as the myths that they have, that the plastic teeth are harmful and they make the baby go weak or eventually they might die. So these are some of the challenges that we're facing working with the various communities, trying to enlighten them from the myths and the beliefs that they have from the past or that they learned from the past generations. Also, we have accessibility barriers, which is one of the major challenges, I think, across the two sites we're working with in Kenya. That is because in the urban area, yes, we have hospitals that are really close by, but also we have quack doctors who are just setting up their clinics. They're not really professionals. So this is a risk to not only the community members, but to the general population as a nation. And in the traditional setting or in the rural setting, sorry, we don't have that many clinics, that is the dental clinics or hospitals with dental units. So you find that somebody has to travel more than 10, 15 kilometers to be able to see a dentist. And even once they see the dentist, it's not assured that you're going to get the dental service that you're looking for, or you're going to see the dentist, but they'll refer you to another hospital. So it's really a big challenge working with the most of the rural community because this causes despair among them, making them just revert to the traditional practices, that is the gum cutting, using of traditional remedies or herbalists as well. So also we have the low literacy levels, which is quite a challenge. This is because you're working with a community that is a certain set community whereby let's say they don't speak English. So if you bring the dentists from the schools or from the medical hospitals, it's really quite a task. Having them collaborate together with the community members or learning together or understanding what the community members are saying, mostly in the rural, because they hardly speak Kiswahili or English. So this is quite a challenge. And also we have the low community participation, which was there initially. This is a challenge whereby the community members don't view oral health as a key because it's from the policy makers or from when the policies are made, oral health is not a priority. So in turn, they view certain aspects such as, let's say, water, electricity, having roads, just having a general hospital without the oral health section or without the dental clinic. So this has been a challenge because we've had to show the community or explain to the community how the oral health affects their overall well-being. In that, maybe you can walk them through on if they don't have good teeth or if they're having dental or oral pain, they cannot eat. In return, they cannot work. So you try and explain to the community how or what's the importance of having oral health, which is actually we've seen it bear fruit in that now the community are including oral health as they are suggested or as they are suggesting policies or implementations within their various areas as well. So from this, from the challenges, of course, we've managed to learn a lot of lessons. We've managed to learn how to counter each challenge. So first and foremost is community trust is built over time. So sustained engagement and respect for local customs and also improving participation. That is trust develops when communities show genuine interest and respect for the project itself. That is through sitting with the community as part of the community, explaining to them what the project is about, telling them the importance of the project or how they aim to benefit from the project as well. And through that, you actually build trust. So the community not only owns the project, but they also go ahead and change their ways or be positive towards whatever or what they're learning from the project and whatever they are taught. Also using local champions and link workers. For instance, we do work with some community forum members, and also we are currently including some link workers, which is a team of people from the set community that you're working with. This shows that the community is not only part of the project, but they are included in the project in giving us feedback, helping us know how well we can work towards the community's strength, the weaknesses as well, and how to navigate each and everything. So this brings up ownership within the project and the community, all the entities or all the parties working as a whole. So we also have the integration of oral health education into existing community activities. This is the likes of barazas, school programs, or even general celebrations, that is such as the World Oral Health Day, whereby you go and educate the communities on matters oral health, not only tooth extractions, but also how to maintain their teeth, how to take care of their overall oral health well-being as well. And also the community participating in enlightening other community members or teaching other community members on positive or good ways to observe oral health hygiene, oral health practices. Also, we've used simplified visual and culturally relevant materials. We do have some models, that is some teeth models, I'd say, whereby the communities, that is an easier way of representing or showing the community members maybe good brushing techniques, good ways of taking care of your oral health. This not only helps in passing the message, but also the community members can see what they're being taught. They can see it visually. This makes it easier for them to take up what they're learning as well. So we've also learned that we do need to get the feedback from the communities. That is, if we are planning on doing maybe certain project, or we're planning to go ahead and teach them certain techniques or cover a certain issue, the community can give us a feedback, that is how well we might go ahead dealing with this topic, what really the community is facing, because as you know, different communities have different dynamics. So this community might be different to the other one, let's say the rural to the urban one. So in each community, you have to tailor specifically for that certain community. This cannot come along without having received feedback from the various communities. Also, we have empowerment and inclusion of communities in decision making, sitting together the community members or the community forum members and link workers, that is in ensuring and helping of developing or continuity of oral health initiatives as well. So as you can see from this slide on the top left, we do have some of the dent of the models, that is the teeth models, which are held by our community forum members, whereby they use to show or illustrate to our community members how to brush their teeth properly or good techniques. You can, on the right, we did hold a World Oral Health Day, whereby we had students from schools included in the oral health talk. We had a walk before the oral health day, and also our lead, Professor Mutave, was able to speak with some of the policy members. For instance, we had the governor of the Makueni County, that is where Kisau Kitata Ward is, talk to the policy members on matters oral health, on what is affecting the communities that you're working with, and also on how we can go ahead and better oral health well-being in the community as well. Also, as I said, you have to use the, let's say, the community's language to reach them. So we did hold some two webinars, or that is, sorry, some two radio shows in the Kamba language, that is the local language for the community members, whereby it was basically on enlightening, teaching them on positive oral health practices, teaching them on the importance of oral health as well, which has turned out to be such a massive success for us, because you reach the communities through a language that they can understand, not only through English or Kiswahili, but their Kamba language, which they feel part of. They feel ownership for the what they're being taught as well. And also, we managed to have a webinar that is a nationwide webinar, whereby generally Professor Motave was educating on matters oral health, as well as the positive practices as well. So yes, we've managed to also have some traditional or cultural dancers, that is the Kamba cultural dancers, whereby it's a group of cultural women. They perform cultural dances. So from that, we saw a need to tap into their art and also have them incorporate oral health education, oral health literacy into their performance, so that not only when they're performing, people enjoy the music or the performance, but they also learn from the performance as well. So thank you very much for the opportunity. That has been my presentation. Once again, back to you, Carol.
Thank you, Teddy. That's great. And we are a bit short of time, but it would be great to have at least a couple of questions or comments if you bear with us some more minutes. So please feel free to raise your hand or put a question or comment in the chat box, because it will be great to hear from you guys what you think about what CORE is doing as a project in the different countries, other experiences in other settings, lessons learned maybe from other initiatives. So now the floor is yours. And in the meantime, please remember the recording of this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel. So I'll paste the link here in the chat box. So if you want to share with colleagues, friends, or watch it later, you can access it there on the YouTube channel. We have questions in the chat. I don't see it, right? Maybe Paulo? You raise your hand, please. Go on, Paulo.
Yes, just a question, Carol. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you properly. Thank you.
Yeah, congrats, Teddy. It was a very nice presentation. Thank you, all the team, the core team. I just like to say thank you very much for your presentation, and just to share. And I really would like to know from Regina and Teddy and the Kenya team, or even the India team or the Colombia team, because I think that's maybe it's a crucial point for the community engagement. But particularly to the TED, I'd like to know if they need some kind of permission to act inside the communities, I would say from major or local councils or health authority, and in the case they need, what were the strategies that they use to deal with. I don't know if I was clear.
Caro,
Regina, you like?
I
Yeah,
can answer
please go
that.
ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
please
thank
go
you
ahead.
very much, and well done, Teddy, for your presentation. And in Kenya, yes, we do have certain gatekeepers. We have the county government. The country is divided into 47 counties, and for you to be able to work with any of the communities, then you must get permission from the county government. And then it's a whole chain. So you go from one level to the lowest level, and every time you go into the community, there are community health persons that then we have to alert them that we are coming to your area. And what we used from the start is that we got some focal people who are very well linked with the county government and who are able to introduce us to the county leadership, and who also came from the very communities that we are working in. And so they still act as our access to every community. So in every community, we have persons who actually help us to work with the community. We have managed to establish bigger teams, and I think with time it's getting easier and easier because they have seen us there. We have interacted with the top county level, so it becomes much easier for them to accept us. Actually, these days they do ask us if we are going, so it's not as difficult as when we first went in to do community mapping. Yeah, I hope I managed to answer your question.
Thank you, Regina. I would
Definitely.
say, yeah, thank you, Paulo, for the question as well. And also, you have an answer on the chat box from Mirai, and I just read it. And I think in Colombia we are in a very similar position. We don't really need permission to work in the communities. We work with key community members, there. But also we keep in touch with local authorities. But we don't need permission as such. But we identify key leaders who are now members of our forum, and we work with them, and those include people from the school, from the community organizations, from church, from different key organizations, groups in the communities, and they are the ones who we are always in touch with, and we coordinate the visits and stuff. And then the more formal authorities, yes, we communicate with them, but that's I don't know, a second level, a second tier, maybe we will call. So yeah, please, Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, just to say thank you to the 4 partner countries for those amazing videos, because it worked so well to see the communities firsthand, the images, the pictures, that diversity of communities. And it's interesting how much commonality across the different countries comes through, which I think is an interesting point overall. But I also wanted just to respond to Heidi's question in the chat box about how our community engagement was influencing our sort of wider research, because that's clearly a fundamental part of the whole purpose of this. And essentially, What we're now doing is we are now planning a community survey with our marginalized communities in each country to collect quantitative data on their experience and barriers to access. Now, that is a complex piece of work, and our community engagement mechanisms are helping us check and pilot the instruments we'll be collecting the data from. It will also help us in terms of how we engage, particularly with the most disadvantaged and marginalized community members. So our community engagement mechanisms and processes will be fundamentally important with this community survey that's going to take place in the next few weeks and months. And then the other piece of work, which will be particularly important for us, is our planned feasibility studies, where we will co-produce with our community members the interventions that will be tested in our feasibility studies. So that is a very concrete way in which the community engagement work directly dovetails into the research plans. So I hope that answers the question. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Richard, and everyone. And if I might add also, like this work with our communities has also contributed to further developing our research capacity, our training in terms of research with communities, because usually our teams are mostly dentists, and as dentists, we are not trained really to work in communities with the communities to learn from them. So if I might say, the community engagement and involvement component has also been a learning opportunity and part of the training and capacity building for us as a research team, as researchers. And I think it has been just a fantastic experience and probably the most exciting component of our project. So yeah, thank you so much. So I think we are slightly over the hour. Thank you everyone for staying with us, for sharing our experience, our excitement. I wish you all a very nice day, evening, afternoon. Happy Diwali for those who celebrated, and warm wishes to everyone all over the world. And please keep in touch. We'll be back in touch with the next season of webinars of the core program next year. So for now, we'll be quiet some months and then we will be back in touch. Thank you, everyone. Take care and see you soon, hopefully. Good luck. Gracias, abrazos, chao, obrigada.